Hey everybody, this is the DM Natan. Been a while since I've done a video, I know. Let me see if I can find a good enough. Hey, there we go. It's too high up, I'll fix it. It's not terrible. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done a video. Haven't really had much stuff for a video, so what I'm gonna do here is go on a bit of a a bit of a 101 on DMing, the cage DM style. And kind of do this over the course of the next few days. Truthfully, I should have started this after tomorrow because I'm not going to be able to post an episode tomorrow. What with it being Independence Day. Truthfully, about the only place I know to start is just building your party. Finding the right players to play. And my preference, since I'm obviously still, in a sense, kind of new, I've got a group that's almost level 10 at this point. I mean, they're level 7, they're quickly approaching level 8. It's a really tough group to beat. They won't die. Seriously, our monk died, or got into dying state twice and was brought back by his own blood. That's just how demented the healer is, okay? He's an unaligned follower of the Raven Queen and is a mass murderer. And a dwarf, so that's probably why he's just fine with that. No, but at any rate, ow. Cool. Allergies. Not fun. I hate allergies. At any rate, I'm stuttering here. Yeah, find a good group that works for you. Find players that you know will make it fun, but you can lean on if you need help with something. I don't know. I guess help working with their individual backstories, getting that entwined into the story, or if you need a rules check and you don't know where the specific rule might be or whatnot. I mean, almost everyone, if not everyone, in my group has access to a character builder of some form, CV Loader, the character builder from DDI. Both of which are pretty good. Both of them are fairly up to date on 4th edition. The DDI one's always going to be fully updated, I believe, as soon as something new comes out. And then, I guess a few weeks later, a few days later, the loader updates to that. But either way, both work great. I don't know where to get the loader. I mean, I had to Google that, so just look up CV Loader and you'll find it. But at any rate, and the loader's just a fan thing that they put together in order for people to have access to a character builder. And mass applause to those guys, really. I mean, the ones put that together, seriously. But my group's got access to one or the other of the builders, of those big builders. And so they've got access to the rulings on a lot of items, a lot of powers. They know how they're going to build the characters. I've got my own copy of the builder, but that's just so I can tweak my NPCs if I want them to show up as a non-player character. Like the DM player, or the DM's character, the DMC. The DMC. What is this, Devil May Cry? I don't know. Gosh. Anyways, truthfully, it's just, what it comes down to is just making sure you're comfortable with the group and that the group is good with their characters. You want a group that's going to be familiar with their characters, and if they're borrowing a character, that they can adapt quick to that character. Normally I would not recommend having someone else come in and play another person's character, because they may not play it how the character was meant to be played. I lucked out recently with a guy who utilized the boundaries already set in the backstory of the character he was borrowing, and has really turned it into something big. So he's playing the character fairly well, and I gotta admit, I really like how he's doing it too. So we'll see how she goes with that. But I don't always recommend it, because you run the risk of not getting the character played the way you'd want, or the original player would want it. But you know, if it's a group you get along with, if it's a group that can play your style without getting bored, you know, that's awesome. And here's another thing. I mean, this is going to be like a two-parter, I guess. And the first part is going to be over partying. A little later into this, I'm probably going to start discussing DMing style, you know, 101 on DM style. But just remember to keep the group at least 4 to 6, around there. I'm going to have 7 or 8 when it's all said and done. And that's because it's just like, well, am I going to need replacements or what? So, I mean, I was gearing up to replace my defender, who suddenly popped back in out of the blue. I was like, whoa, okay. You're going to do it that way. Alright, let's go. Back to the game, let's do it. But, I just recommend keeping it at a manageable number. Like, 4 means you get at least 1 of each role, one would hope, unless the group's just crazy and goes, hey, let's all go fighter, or let's all go mage, let's go cleric, or let's go knight. You want to be a freaking tank? Do you want 4 tanks? How are you going to get healed if you 4 get overwhelmed? You know, I mean, it doesn't make sense. So, at any rate, just find a group that works. I mean, it can be online, which makes it easier to pull people in, but you're less likely to know them. And I would recommend at least putting 1 or 2 people into the group that you know already, so you're not playing with a complete group of strangers, and there's at least someone that can help get the play going, that you can trust will get the play going. If you're playing local, live, yeah, just friends that want to play. I mean, if you have 6 or 4 or 5 friends that want to play, you know, just get the books out, get a builder out, whip up characters, and go for it. Let's see. I've discussed before what you need when you're DMing, what supplies I would recommend, like tiles, tokens, maps, the shield, the books. I still don't have the rules compendium. Son of a... I keep meaning to get that book. That one's more for the players, if anything. It's just I do like having a handy guide of how much items cost, and that does have a section on equipment, so that's why I want to have that, so I don't have to have the players' handbooks on hand. Excuse me. Yeah, excuse me again. That's rude. I'm sorry. At any rate, excuse me. Oh my gosh. At any rate, you're going to want at least 1 of each role. And you're going to want them to have the books that have their powers, or have printed out character sheets that have the cards. Obviously, you're not going to have those in cardstock, so... But, at any rate, if they've got the cards, the power cards, you know, use those. Unless you want to go with the books. It's a little more tedious looking through the books. But if they've got the cards, you know, use them. Utilize those. Like, go for it. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going to use Face Step. I'm going to use Cascade of Light. I'm going to use Prestidigitation. I'm going to use Phantom Chasm. I'm going to use Split the Tree. I'm going to use Berserker's Charge, you know. Power cards are helpful. So, scratch that part. I'm going to do a character requirement, or I'm going to do a character essentials thing, or player essentials. Tools the players need. Next episode. That'll be Friday. Maybe tomorrow, actually. That'll interrupt the DM 101 line, but hey, it gets more frequent episodes out, right? Let's see. I said I was gonna go style next, right? 11 and a half minutes in, and I'm now going style. I'm blabbered too much. I'm working on it. Okay, I don't do videos frequently enough to pull it off. At any rate, choosing your own style now. Really, it comes down to what you feel comfortable with. Do you feel comfortable more with role-playing? Do you feel more comfortable with combat? Are you a mix? If so, what degree of a mix? Is it 80-20, 60-40, 70-30, 50-50, 90-10, 67-33, 66-34, you know, all that jazz. 37, 63, 64, 36, you know, all the different percentages you can come up with to signify the difference. But, you know, at any rate, I would suggest finding a particular style. And it also comes down to narration style. Like, do you prefer, like, some grand, majestic style narration, or is it simple, you walk into a village, you see some people milling about, you know, what do? Or, again, the grand majestic, it's like, greetings, adventurers, you are faced today with 3 choices. Do you wander this small, fair town? Do you enter directly to Lord's Keep, or do you slay everybody in town? Or do you have another option? The choice is yours. I mean, honestly, that's over dramatic, but, you know, it's just a narration style that works for you and your players, because you don't want to bore your players, but you also don't want to, you know, get stagnant, I guess, or just be, like, bland, because you could still bore them. But they also might not like the over-the-top stuff, so that's where you got to be careful. The way you tell the story, I mean, I don't like railroading, okay? I don't recommend railroading at all, because railroading is probably the worst thing you can do as a DM. And that's forcing them to play your story. You're not the only writer of this story here. It's a process involving you and the players to put together a great story. So instead of railroading, leave options. Every time I fear I'm railroading, the players do something I don't expect, and I'm instantly just tossing stuff out the windows I originally had planned. Case in point, these guys recently did a Civil War. They completed the first part of a story arc in the campaign where they helped a former king reclaim his throne. in a rebellion against the militaristic coup that had occurred. Ironic considering the militaristic coup in Egypt, peaceful militaristic coup at the time of this episode's recording. No, it was not a prediction. That would have been scary. At any rate, let's see. They assisted in a rebellion to stop a coup, or to defeat a coup that had occurred. So they basically the original king won the civil war, but he died in the process. He was a deva, so of course he was going to come back at some point. Just didn't expect it to be that plain. I might have him come back in office next time. Yeah, I'll worry about Dark Sun later. Because that depends on whatever DM I play that with, or if I'm playing, or if I'm DMing the Dark Sun campaign. I don't care either way. I mean, both of those are fun. But, at any rate, they, overthrew the coup, but how they did it was interesting. They entered the town. Okay, the king went in to rescue a buddy of his who was trapped in his shop. But the players didn't follow the king. No, they went straight to the palace, where the guy who was the current king was supposed to be. But he was missing. He was gone. You know, and gnomes, they're tricky, so he could have still been there. But nope, he was out the door. And they persisted to rebuild, or build up a army for Natan as a result. Natan being the old king. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't help finishing Natan's story without, or that way. I mean, I wanted an ending there. Let's me come up with something new. Or I can go back with Natan and a new story, or just be a new life, new name. You never know. But at any rate, they went straight to the palace, took out the second in command of the current king's forces, got Natan back on the throne of Altoria. Yeah, it's Altoria. It's probably one of my favorite names for a country. It's so simple. I mean, Altoria, an Altor city, Altor keep. I still gotta rebuild that somehow. I'll figure it out later. But speaking of which, I gotta rebuild that at some point this week. Ew, they burned down the palace. Well, they stopped it from burning down. That's how they got the militia put together for Natan. But the fact that they went to the palace first, wiped all those guys out, and then went to the tavern, the shop of Natan's buddy, in a relatively short time span, like before the fire became noticeable, I was like, what? How? I don't even... That's all my story out the window. Thanks a lot, guys. And then the next week, after they completed the quest, the story, and now left it open to what they were going to do next, they were asking, hey, why wasn't there a boss? I'm like, you killed the boss last week. What? Yeah. Killed the boss boss last week, guys. Oh. Yeah. Gotcha. I mean, I killed the boss a week early. It's like, why did you guys jump right to the palace? I didn't get any kind of indication. He was supposed to be last. He was supposed to go try and save Don. And Marco. And Felix. But now the players are interested in trying to track down the now former king of Altoria, while Natan's back on his throne as Valrus the Undying, Valrus the Wise. I can never be sure what I'm going to call him. But, you know, he's back on the throne and doing his stuff. So, but yeah, that's what happens when you try and railroad, and then the players are smart and they do their own thing. Well, these guys did it out of nowhere. They didn't even expect that they took out the boss early. So, but yeah, give the players options and don't limit it just to options you say. Just be like, the world's in front of you. What do? Go nuts. Start a quest. Kill a quest. But yeah, that should do it for this episode. Till next time.